Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. We're in session number 36 here on YouTube, where over the past many weeks, we've been meeting each other Monday to Friday every single day. And honestly, looking back at this journey, seeing this number 36 sessions in is such a joy. It's such a blessing because I want to share something with you very honestly today. When I started this journey, and when I started making these live YouTube sessions, I was a bit apprehensive of whether I'd be able to do it consistently or not. Because for the longest time, I had a history of starting things that made me feel inspired but then leaving them. I had quite a bit of proof in my past of all the times I'd looked up to someone who felt great, someone who felt like an idol, and I saw the dedication they had, the commitment they had, the drive they had to achieve their goals. And I would start off with the same energy, I would start off with the same inspiration, only to end up flat on the face and inconsistent again 7 days later. And for quite some time, this loop continued for me over the past few years. As I have evolved, as I have grown, I have changed that loop as well. But sometimes the question still comes, the doubt still comes. And so that doubt and that worry and that fear that we have of not being enough and not doing enough, I want to address that today. And not by telling you to change your feelings, not by telling you how you might be approaching this wrong, but by working around the idea of inspiration itself. Because somewhere the way we think about inspiration has turned into a flawed perception, and that's why inspiration, rather than being something that pushes us forward, something that drives us towards our goals, has become the very reminder of our incompetency, our inadequacies, and the places where we are lagging behind. That's not what it was supposed to be, but that's what it has become for quite a lot of people. Today, we're going to understand why that is and also how we can change it. So, rather than being a trap, rather than being a cage, inspiration becomes jet fuel instead, that takes your flight of success from the ground to the skies that you have always dreamed of, that you know you can achieve, that you know you have the capacity to do and make. And so I want to begin this conversation with a very simple demonstration and an example. I picked this out. So this is a diary that I had got recently, a planner as a gift from one of my friends. It's custom made. It even has my name on the top, and it says a beautiful thing called Celebrate You. But now the reason I picked this up is if you look at it a bit inside, it has these beautiful stickers. It's very well designed. It has multiple different types of pages. It's like a pretty creative planner, a pretty decent gift. And I personally love anything that has to do with reading or writing. So when someone gives me anything like this, I go crazy over it. But now at the same time, I've just shown you that book. Now I want you to look at this one. It's a normal spiral notebook where I can make notes, I can write my ideas, I do some things that I want to write about. So it's like I can just open any random page, just flip over. Inside it's the same. It's quite unremarkable to say the least. It's not unique, it's not different. It's not something you'd look at and say, wow. But now, imagine if I asked you this question, okay? There's this planner, there's this beautiful, decorated, wonderful notebook, and then there's this. And the question you are asking is, well, this is wonderful, this is amazing. When will this notebook turn into this planner? Now, logically, does that question make sense? No, it doesn't. But when it comes to inspiration, when it comes to getting guidance, when it comes to having a role model or being inspired by somebody, this is the exact question we ask and the exact mistake we make, because we are looking at them like this planner. We are looking at them like this beautiful, well curated, successful, amazing person. And we are looking at ourselves like this normal notebook that has nothing special, nothing remarkable. And so, in that moment, rather than being inspired by the success that is here, our lack, our inadequacy, our feeling of not being enough makes us ask a question that turns inspiration into comparison. And that question is, wow, they're doing so great. Why am I not able to? You see, the moment we ask that question, inspiration stops being inspiration and it starts being comparison instead. Because now, instead of learning a beautiful lesson from them, instead of understanding how that person created their success, how that person became consistent, how that person did the things that they wanted to do, how they showed up against the odds and fought the hardest battles to get to their goals, rather than learning the principles of success from all of that, what you choose is to feel bad and low and negative about yourself because you are not able to do that now, because you are comparing your current state with the version of success they have already achieved, not realizing that this version of success has been years and years and years in the making. You see, when we get inspired, when we see this whole boost of amazing stories, that's the phrase that comes to my mind very well. These amazing stories where you read about someone on the internet, or you read an amazing book, or you watch this video of how someone became a millionaire at 23, and instead of inspiring you to take action on that level, all those stories are doing for you is they are creating this question of why am I not able to do the same. And that brings frustration, that brings fear, that brings this sense that maybe I am just not enough. And that's the most dangerous thought to have, because then what do? You give up. You think, maybe I just don't have it in me. Maybe they are the special ones. Maybe there's something wrong in my stars only. I don't have luck in my that thing that we read about our horoscopes and all of that. We start going in that direction. We start finding certainty from things that don't even matter, because then we feel like everybody, every single person is able to figure it out, only I am not able to figure it out, only I am the one who's lagging behind. And that thought comes only because you are asking this wrong question of why am I not able to. Because here's the thing, and this comes with inspiration from Brene Brown, someone who's one of my most favorite authors, my favorite researchers. I mean, her work is incredible. And here's this beautiful thing that she said. I think I've mentioned this in one of the live sessions before, but I'm going to say it again. Don't ever go into the world looking for evidence that you don't belong, because you will always find it. Well, just like that, I would twist it around and say, don't ever go into the world looking for evidence for why you're falling behind, because you will always find it. And when you ask the question, why am I not able to? All you keep getting is excuses and answers and reasonings and justifications for why your life is a mess and you are not at the level of success that you desire. But can I introduce you to a different question today? Where rather than inspiration being something that overwhelms you, inspiration becomes something that truly inspires you to be better, to achieve better, to do more, and to gain more success. Well, that question that you can ask yourself is, oh, wow, they are doing so great. How can I be like them? The first question is about you. It's about how you are lacking behind. It's about how you are not able to succeed. But the second question shifts the focus from you and shifts the focus into who that person is that's inspiring you, that you are learning from, that you look up to, and how that person is creating their success. So, continuing on this metaphor here, it's a pretty simple thing to understand. That's why I'm giving you this example. Now, if this notebook has to turn into this beautiful, well curated notebook, just asking why is it not like this is not going to help. But when this notebook asks, how can I be like this notebook? Well, answers are there. One of the answers is take all the paper, reform it, put it into this different structure, make the pages like that, and there you go. You have from this notebook a notebook that looks like this, that looks like this beautiful planner. Well, just like that, when you are inspired by someone, when you are looking up to someone, when you admire someone for any and all kind of success that they have created, ask yourself the question, how can I be like them? Not the question, why am I not able to? And I know one of your fears in asking that question is, well, Prabhsimrat, if I ask that question, how can I be like them? Won't I be a copy of them rather than being my original self, rather than being my real self? And well, I hear your fears, I hear your doubt, and it's valid. It's important to ask this question. So, my answer there is very simple, it's very clear, and it's something I've had lived experience in, so I can say it with certainty. So I hope it's okay with you if I share a personal example from my end of how this very question has brought me where I am. You see my speaking skills today, you see the way I'm able to communicate, the way I'm able to connect with you, even though we're not face to face, I'm still talking to you as if you were right here in front of me. Now, earlier, this was not natural for me, but I built this naturality, I built this skill, I built this competence. When I looked at the speakers who inspired me, when I looked at my mentors, when I looked at people who could speak to a camera with confidence and without a script and without any second thoughts, and rather than in that moment when I was in their vicinity, when I was learning from them, or when I was taking insights from them and their journey, I was not asking myself, they are doing so well, how will I ever do that? What will they think of me if I'm fail? What will they assume if I'm not able to succeed the way they are succeeding? Why am I not able to do the same things that they are doing? Rather than feeling low about myself in that moment, where I could very easily see that I was an amateur at something they were an expert at, I chose to put my ego aside, and I decided to look at the facts of how I could learn from the situation, how I could improve, and how I could be more like them. And so the focus shifted into the principles that they were using, into the way their hands were shifting, into the cadence of their speech, their articulation, the way they were showing up. And all those lessons, well, I purposefully articulated them into who I am. The speaker that you see in front of you right now is not the natural me. It's not something that I was born with. It's something that I've built through inspiration, through examples, through journeys of so many different people. But all because in the moments when I was learning, I was humble enough to acknowledge my shortcomings, to acknowledge the fact that yes, I was not as perfect as all those other people, but also I was strong enough in my self image and self esteem to know that there was nothing wrong with being at that stage of my life right now. You see, in my health, I'm working on a lot of things. I'm working on getting to my ideal body weight. I'm not there yet, but I've made a lot of progress. But in the meantime, when I see someone who's like at the ideal stage or at the kind of dream physique I want, I no longer ask myself the question, why am I not there yet? Instead, I think about it, well, what would they have done to achieve that? How did they make it happen? What are some best practices that I can learn? And with that, inspiration no longer remains a trap for me, rather than being something that makes me feel like I'm falling behind and that I'm not doing enough. It has now become fuel where every time I see someone who's doing better than me, I only have new ideas for how I can grow and how I can succeed and how I can continue this quest of discovering everything that I'm capable of. If there's one metaphor that you can adopt for your life, it's this: I'm on a quest to discover everything that I am capable of. And the moment you walk on that quest, the moment you take up that thing as your mission, right? You stop wallowing in self pity. You stop wallowing in self doubt. You stop going into the zone where you feel bad about yourself and you feel you've not lived up to your potential. Because your potential is not a definite end, it's not something that begins or ends, it's something you live and experience every single day until your dying breath, till your last breath. You will be someone who continues to explore everything that they can be capable of, because the potential is always there. Now, to enjoy that journey or to hate that journey and suffer in that journey, well, the choice is yours. I implore you to think about the choice that makes you more aware, that gives you more wisdom, that gets you more riches, more abundance, more success. And that, my friends, is the path of inspiration, not of comparison. So when you learn from others, when you improve from others, and when you have that strong sense of worth within, everything starts aligning for the best, because you know that I am someone who can make it happen. And after all, it's a quest, it's a journey, it's something I'm going to explore every single day. So the pressure to achieve is off, the pressure to get to a deadline is off, the pressure to make something happen by a certain age is off. All I'm going to do is keep learning, keep growing, and keep pursuing the things that my heart calls for. That's a fulfilling existence. That's an inspiring life. That's a life where you wake up every single day excited and immersed in the process of achieving more, but also doing more, because you are aligned to the things that give you your highest sense of purpose and fulfillment. You see, it's all an upward cycle, and it begins with humility. It begins with the ability to be a learner, and it begins with you asking the question that leads you to inspiration, not to comparison, worry, and desperation. You have both paths in front of you. Explore the inspiration one, and I can give you a hint: you'll never try walking on the comparison one again, because you will see the magic that this world holds. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to stick with this question for tonight. Reflect on it and ask yourself, what's one area where I'm comparing, where I should actually be inspired? And you will be amazed at how fast your thoughts change, your approach changes, and your actions change. And tomorrow I'll see you once again at 8:30 p.m. for another incredible session that helps you get to your next breakthrough. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you once again tomorrow. Bye.